And so I think everybody feels that prices are out of control across the board and that it's getting harder and harder to live. But there are some sort of things that pop up that serve as recession indicators, right? And we can talk a little bit about that as we go through the stream here tonight. But one of the things that just blazed for me, red alarm, red alert, was this states with the most foreclosures data. And so we'll read this article from the Daily Mail. This is by Martha Williams, a U.S. News reporter. This was from September 19th, so it's a few days old now. But, it still should be materially accurate, right? But it says that in August, there were a total of 35,697 properties in the U.S. with foreclosure filings, according to a report by Adam. This represents a 1% decrease from the previous month, but an 18% increase compared to 2024, right? And so that's not great. August was the 6th consecutive month of year-on-year increases in foreclosures and the third month straight with double-digit annual growth. Nevada was worst affected last month, with a foreclosure filing for 1 in every 2,069 housing units. Now listen, I am a community college dropout. I could not tell you about, any of the in-depth statistics here or macroeconomic trends on what this means. But Nevada leading the way in foreclosures, I think, is spooky for a number of reasons. Not the least of which is that when I first moved to Nevada in 2015, it was sort of just on the heels of the Great Recession, and a lot of the recovery was sort of underway from that, 2010, 2011, post George W. Bush recession that the entire country was dealing with. And Nevada was hit particularly hard by the Great Recession, and it took years and years for the market to recover. And so I think that my understanding of the situation was that any of the economic sort of issues that were being felt nationally were felt sort of in a magnified way here in Nevada. And so I think that we, to some extent, serve as an early warning system for the rest of the country, similar to the way that we serve as a microcosm, right, demographically and in terms of industry. I think it's a bad sign when things start going poorly in Nevada. And if you live here, if you are raising a family here, if you're shopping here, or just trying to make ends meet, I think the writing's kind of on the wall, right? I think it's become more and more obvious that the economy in Las Vegas especially is not okay. We're seeing a major slumps in international tourism. Las Vegas Mayor Shelley Berkeley just a few weeks ago gave a speech where she basically said that Canadian tourism had dried up completely. I think it was what was once a river is now a trickle or a puddle or something like that. She used some sort of analogy like that. And so, they're seeing declining tourism numbers in a community that relies a lot on tourism money to make ends meet. We're starting to see things pop up all over town. I went to a restaurant that I like a lot, and they now have a $4, chicken tender burrito that they do during certain hours, right? And then you're seeing the $1.99 margaritas at station casinos, and there's a whole, citywide sale of 25% off, room rates or whatever it is. And these things don't happen by accident, right? And if you've been paying attention at all, you know that corporations don't tend to be friendlier than they have to be. And so I think what we're seeing is, prices have gone, through the roof. Wages have largely stagnated, right? Tourism has begun to dry up. And now we're seeing foreclosures begin to rise here in Nevada. And all of these things just kind of scream like concern to me. And, as somebody who sort of came of age during the Great Recession, and, now is sort of entering proper adulthood, getting married and looking into buying a house in what appears to be sort of a coming recession. I think I share concerns with a lot of you when I say that I'm real tired of it. And I'm curious how y'all feel. Are you guys also feeling economic anxiety about some of these things that we're seeing. But, you can see here Nevada, South Carolina, Florida, New Jersey, Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, Maine, Connecticut, and Utah in our top 10 here. But, it sucks to see Nevada at the top of this list, right? It's a really bad sign. And I think that it's something that's said really well here. Ultimately, they can reflect larger issues within the housing and financial systems, creating rippling effects across the economy. And I think that's pretty spot on. And so something to follow, something to stay on top of in terms of this story. But if you are somebody who is in Nevada and sort of struggling through it, know that you're not alone. Know that this is something that I think a lot of people are dealing with right now, because costs are going up. And I mean, even going to get gas this week, I feel like prices were like 20 or 30 cents higher than they were the week before. And so you sort of we're in a place where we're looking for some relief here, and not clear that it's coming. And so not great, not a good vibe at all when it comes to those numbers.